5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is the Culture Clash.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of Culture Clash here on the New Look Fandom Podcast Network. It's been 10 years. We decided it was time for a little facelift. You're going to be seeing a lot of things popping out on all the shows across the network here over the summer. And speaking of summer, we've got a very fun episode of Culture Clash for you guys tonight. The Magic 8 Ball is back. It's making demands. It wants to know what our favorite summer movies are through the Gen X generation, shall we say. So I had to bring in somebody else who claims he's Gen X. I think he is. It might be a little borderline, but he's always a little borderline anyway. He is the co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network, the one and only Kevin Reitzel.
I'm always writing the borderline, and I am definitely a Gen X kid and proud of it. It's going to be fun.
We don't take no sass.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of fun stuff. We got some of our social media friends as well. They're going to chime in on that as well. But before we go any further, though, I must say something, Kyle. And I think it's time to, first of all, if you guys don't know, not only is this our 10th anniversary here, but we are also celebrating your birthday. Happy birthday, brother. How's things been going?
Oh, well, you know, when you have your birthday in the middle of the week, it's kind of low key. You kind of wait till the weekend before you're going to do some stuff. I might have got a new pet kaiju, but the shipping from Japan with tariffs is a pain right now. So he's kind of stuck over there. I'm still waiting for my Akira motorcycle, my battle armor, Cyclone battle armor, my transformable Veritech fighter, all these kind of fun things. And I don't know what's happening here. Shipping's a pain, but otherwise, you know, it's been for what it is. I'm older. I'm a little wiser. I'm a little grayer. But yeah, it is my birthday, so thank you, Mr. Reitzel, for the birthday. And before I
wanted to thank you for being a friend. Happy birthday!
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down a road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. I'm not a
wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I did some fun on Instagram with you, man. Happy birthday, dude.
I appreciate it. And just so you know, I am Betty White, you're B. Arthur.
Nice.
Well, too, you know, this is Culture Clash on the Fandom Podcast Network. And yes, we can see our new looks. More importantly, this QR code on your screen. We've been updating things. We've been doing little things. If you scan that QR code on your screen, does it take you to the FPNet homepage on Podbean? Oh, no, not anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It takes you to our Linktree page where there are links to all of our social medias, the direct links to the pages for all of our shows on Podbean. We're having fun with that. It's a great tool. Linktree is an amazing product. You scan that QR code, use it, and check out Linktree if you've got to distribute your own pages out there. It's a great little tool. You can get a free version. There's a version you can buy, but scan that QR code and see
like if you're wondering, like, hey, what if I wanted to find that Blooded Kings episode or that True Believers episode or Union Fed? Well, all of those individual links are in there, and we're going to be adding to it as well as our T Public link as well. So yeah,
we're still working on everything with the facelift around here. We got some more work to do. I've been a busy boy, but.
Now, before we go any further, Kyle, is it true that we have some furry celebrities that we need to discuss? You were teasing about something.
Okay, so let's talk about this here for a minute, Mr. Reitzel. So obviously, everybody at some point or time, if you've been watching the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube, you have seen my two cats, Tummy and Stripesy, come on. Now, I've also put a lot of pictures of them on my social media because they are cute little tuxedo cats.
They're very photogenic.
Yeah, they're not so little, but there's been pictures I've taken in the past where Tummy has been sitting on my computer while I have GarageBand opening, editing podcasts. So for the heck of it, I just did a little Google search of Tummy and Stripesy, and they're my boys right there. Tommy does not like to let Stripesy talk. If you can see, he's got his paw over his brother's mouth. But Kevin, what Google AI brought back to me was Tommy and Stripesy are the famous cats of influencer and podcaster Kyle Wagner. I'm not famous. They're famous. and Tommy is the assistant editor according to Google AI. So I just found that fun. It was a random thing, and the answer that came back, I shared it with you and our good friend Lacey, who is a big cat fan as well. And it was just a cute little thing that was funny. And I love my boys. They are going to be turning 6 this year already, Kevin.
Can't believe it's been 6 years since you rescued
got them in 2020. They were 7 weeks old. Some COVID kitties.
That's awesome, man.
So, but you know what? We are here for Culture Clash and the Fandom Podcast Network. Look at those two guys behind that new logo. What?
I know, looking sharp there.
Doing some nice stuff. Yeah. They wouldn't let me use
I remember
WKRP
when that picture was taken of us.
Yes, exactly. And I they wouldn't let me use WKRP. I don't know why, but yeah. But spoiler alerts ahead, because this is a pop culture show, and we are not only going to be talking about news, we're going to be talking about old school movies. Maybe you haven't seen them. Maybe you're young and haven't caught up. And we do have our review section too, where we will be talking and spoiling things that we've seen. And speaking of those things, of course, we have our Let's News segment where we're going to catch you up on all the news that's happening in fandom. A little Buy It, Stream It, or Unsee It, our movie and TV review section. And we got a few things playing currently on the network that need to be checked out, Kevin. And it all starts off with our newest show, hosted by my good friend Steve Brown. We've never really truly had a dedicated comic book show on the Fandom Podcast Network.
Talked about it a lot on other shows, so yeah.
Yeah. So we have fixed that now with the Flattest State of Comics podcast, a little in-joke on the fact that Steve is in Florida, a very flat state, and you like to keep your comics flat as well. He has a great group of people that are going to be guests throughout. He's got a great comic book writer guest coming up for the second show. He will be doing this once a month on the network. If you need some of your comic fix, Steve is very passionate about comics. Check it out. It's a great new show. It's on the first episode is out there. You can listen to it on audio, or you can go to our YouTube channel and watch it. I'm going to tell you right now, it's worth the watch because his two guests, if you are a Lego fan, the setups behind them of their Lego collections are quite impressive. So check it out, the Flattest State of Comics podcast. And Kevin, 1996, that was a year.
Yeah, we're celebrating the year of 1996 on Time Warp, and Time Warp is our podcast on the network here where we look at an entire year of movies monthly, and we look at all the movies that came out in the year. For example, this year that we've chosen is 96 because they're all celebrating their 30th anniversary as of this recording. And we also talk about all the culture that surrounds the movies, including the music and the television and such. And so please join us. We've been having a lot of fun. We're halfway through the year of 1996. There's been some good stuff.
Yeah. And also too, True Believers, it's got its new look, and we kicked off its new look with covering Supergirl. Now we know that this has been a little bit of a interesting topic movie, but we had fun with it. We had a good time. Check it out. We'll give it a listen and see what you think of our thoughts on it. And pretty soon we'll be talking about the new Spider-Man film that is coming out towards the end of July. So excited for that. And we released another FPN classic, but you mixed it in with the episode count for Highlander, our Blood of King show on Highlander. So we released it as episode 179. Kevin, you had two amazing Highlander interviews several years ago.
Yeah, in 2020, the COVID year, literally the week in before COVID hit, there was a convention in Los Angeles with Peter Wingfield, who plays Mythos, the famous Mythos, on the Highlander TV series. And he had several guests there, including one of the show creators and showrunners of the TV series, David Abramowitz. And I got to interview both of them. And we have another one coming out too. This falls under our Fandom Podcast Network Classics. We're re-releasing some older podcasts that may have gotten lost or forgotten about that deserve some love again. And I got another one where I got Peter again, but this time with Jim Burns, who played Joe Dawson in the TV series. If you're a Bloody Kings fan, make sure you check it out. It's dropping on all the podcast catchers as well as our YouTube channel.
And then we have a few things that are coming soon because we're always working on things here. We need content. If we don't put out content, what's the point? But we've been promising this for a while. Let's be honest. This is the final wrap up of our Canon Films retrospective. But we've been trying to work with a very special guest on this, and we're trying to accommodate that person's schedule. We're not going to quite reveal that yet, but we promise you it's worth the wait. We're not only going to be talking about the classic 1987 version of Masters of the Universe, we are going to talk a little bit too about the most recent version of Masters of the Universe, which we will also be talking about a little later in this episode of Culture Clash as well, Kevin.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and then you're working on a very interesting couch potato theater. It's going to be a little different from past couch potato theaters because you've got an angle you're working on with this particular movie.
Yeah, we're celebrating the it's 45th anniversary now of Outland. Came out in 1981. The kind of space western that we have with Sean Connery as a marshal who's trying to marshal and take care of all the corruption of a space station on one of the moons of Jupiter, I think it is. And there's been a lot of fan theories about how it could be an Alien 1979 prequel. And we're going to talk about the parallels and the similarities and have that fun side discussion, as well as talking about the movie Outland itself.
And of course, we were talking about Time Warp a little bit ago. We are going to this month be recording July 1996, Kevin, and some interesting movies in that month.
Yeah, we got Independence Day, Super Cop with Jackie Chan, A Time to Kill, Kingpin, Multiplicity, Frighteners, or just to name a few. It came out in July of 1996.
We're going to have a lot of fun with all of that. And we are going to be releasing a few more classic FPN episodes. Some couch potato theaters coming up. There's something about July 14th, Kevin. Am I going to see my daddy that day?
Yes, we're re-releasing our Con Air Couch Potato Theater on Con Air Day, which is July 14th. For those of you that know, you know. And then we're also going to be releasing the Heavy Metal 1981 animated feature Couch Potato Theater that we did, because that's also celebrating its 45th anniversary.
And if you look on those, you happen to see the new Couch Potato Theater logo. And I want to just throw this out there a little bit now. We need a name for our potato guys. So we might be.
Yeah, he's like hanging on the chair there with some popcorn and 3D glasses. Yeah. Now we're not going to do Spud. That's too easy. We need something a little more.
Get creative. Help us out a little bit here. We're always open to suggestions. We're going to have this open for a while, but. And then you mentioned it earlier, coming soon to another FPN classic. You talked about it, the interview with Jim Burns and Peter Wingfield from Blood of Kings from 2020.
Yep.
So, but guys, we are here to talk about Culture Clash Live. It's time for that Culture Clash. The Magic 8-Ball. You have it there with you, Kevin?
I do. It's right here. Yes. And please, I want to remind people too, if you're watching the podcast, please comment and let us know your feelings on it. And also, please subscribe to the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel. You'll get all of the reminders of when we go live. But yes, I brought the Magic 8-Ball. It is raring to go, dude.
Yeah, we haven't used it in a while. Is it angry again? Because it's scary when it's angry.
I don't know. Do you want to ask it a question?
Am I going to get radical birthday presents?
Radical birthday presents?
Yeah.
All right. It says, hold on, there's bubbles. It says outlook not good.
Oh, another year of coal. Great. Well, let's get into things, guys.
Let's use.
So we start off with a little bit of news, and then a lot of things happened over the last 48 hours. And first and foremost, Kevin, the Emmys were dropped and the announcements for the nominations. Now, I'm not going to go over the full list here, but I took some of the more important categories that are out there and just got the list of people that are nominated and the shows that are nominated. And I'm kind of curious of your intake. So for the outstanding drama series, we've got The Diplomat, The Gilded Age, Game of Thrones, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Paradise, The Pit, Slow Horses, and Your Friends and Neighbors. Any of these that stand out for you?
Several of them. I haven't watched all of these, but I'm a fan of the Gilded Age, Seven Kingdoms, Friends and Neighbors. I've seen a little bit of The Pit. My wife loves that. I know you love that. I kind of get a feeling the way The Pit has been getting a lot of buzz. I have a feeling that he might take that. So
yeah. I think The Pit might be repeating on a lot of things. And then we have our outstanding comedy series, which is Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Margot's Got Money Troubles, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Building, Shrinking, Widow's Bay, and Hacks. And Kevin, I just got to say this real quick. Much like the Golden Globes, I have a real problem with this category with some of the shows that are in it.
Widow's Bay should not be in this category.
I don't believe The Bear should be. I know people try to play it up as a dark comedy, but that should be a drama. I've not seen it, but I've heard great things about Margot's Got Money Troubles.
I've seen the first few episodes. It's not bad, but I would give this to Shrinking or Nobody Wants This.
Yeah, that is my thinking as well. And I did get a couple of the actor selections here. Outstanding actor in a drama series, Sterling K. Brown for Paradise, Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, Mark Ruffalo for Task, Rufus Sewell for The Diplomat, and Noah Wiley for The Pit.
Noah's got to win that, right?
I'm going to say, though, I Ruffalo and Sterling K. Brown could give him a run this year. Just saying. So, also, we have got the outstanding actress in a drama series. We've got Carrie Coon for The Gilded Age, Chase Infinity for The Testaments, Kerry Russell for The Diplomat, Rhea Seaborn for Pluribus, and Zendaya for Euphoria. I think this is the year Zendaya wins for Euphoria.
Probably. I really that's a good one. Yeah. But I really like Carrie Coon in The Gilded Age. She's great in that.
Yeah. So, outstanding lead actor in a comedy series. And I'm really glad about this first nomination. Just the fact he even got the nomination, but that Yahya Abdul Mateen II from Wonder Man. I love this actor. I'm so glad he at least got the props for this. I don't think he's going to win, but I'm glad he got recognized. You've got Steve Carell for The Rooster, Matthew Rhys for The Widow's Bay, Jason Segel for Shrinking, and Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building. I think this is between Steve Carell and Jason Segel personally.
Yeah, I'm favoring Segel in that one. He's great in Shrinking.
And then outstanding lead actress in a comedy series, we've got Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary, Io Edeberry for The Bear, Elle Fanning for Margot's Got Money Troubles, Lisa Kudrow for The Comeback, and Jean Smart for Hacks. I really kind of feel like this is the weakest bunch of these categories, Kevin, because I mean, Kudrow's been doing
I've only seen Elle, so I'm just going to vote for her because she was really good. But yeah.
So there's a lot of other categories out there. I think this is there is a note on here, a couple of notes on here though that I am kind of surprised of as far as the nominations. The final season of Stranger Things was blanked. And I'm a little surprised by that just because it was the final season.
Yeah. It took forever to come out, though. I don't think that helped its cause,
No. And then the other one, Jeremy Allen White from The Bear has been a regular in the Best Actor nomination comedy category. So I'm a little surprised not to see him there. But again, I have feelings about The Bear that it should be a drama listing and not.
And he's also the voice of Rod the Hutt in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, it's funny you bring up Mandalorian and Grogu, Kevin, because
is that called a segue?
Yeah, something like that. I thought a segue was those things that people used to ride and have accidents on. I'm not so sure about that, but yeah, there was Star Wars news that came out, particularly some leaks about Star Wars Starfighter. Now, these are leaks. They're not 100% confirmed, but the information is coming from the renowned Star Wars leaker known as Making Star Wars, who previously gave us plot leaks on most of Disney's Star Wars productions. He has now posted a series of tweets on Star Wars Starfighter. Kevin, this guy's been pretty accurate, or been pretty close with a lot of his leaks over the years. So I think people are giving it a little bit more attention. So I'm just going to mention some of these, and let's see what happens here. But he is a highly trusted source. Making Star Wars is a highly trusted source for Star Wars leaks. And here's what he shared. Ryan Gosling's character is reportedly named Cade, while Fling Gray is either Ron or Ronan, or at least something that sounds like one of those. The young actor used an American accent for the role and is said to be wearing a necklace of some importance. The on-screen chemistry between them is really strong, and Project Hail Mary star hero is compared to a Rogue Han Solo style protagonist.
That makes sense. I mean, it kind of looks it, in the only two pictures we have of this.
Yeah. As expected, he's tasked with escorting a child, Gray's character, presumably, to a Jedi refuge or academy on a planet called Adiria. That's described as green and lush, East Asian inspired, full of greenery and fountains, with tiki-style huts and sets with large mechanical struts, possibly landing gear.
Someone was spying on a set.
Yeah, I'm thinking just a little.
I wonder if the planet's called Adaria.
It could be. It could be Adaria. Interestingly, Lantern star Aaron Pierre, who I am very high on. I am a big fan of his. I think he's one of the better up-and-coming actors we've got, is connected to that Jedi sanctuary on Adiria. And it seems
you're not going to say Adaria, are you?
I'm going to go back and forth until I have confirmation. These are rumors, people. Work with me.
Adaria.
And it seems he's also a Jedi, seeing as his character battles Mia Goth's unnamed villain in a lightsaber duel.
Ooh, that'll be cool.
Also, when it comes to how these Jedi are portrayed, they're mostly Padawans in beige Jedi-style tunics, similar to Obi-Wan Kenobi and young Anakin at the end of The Phantom Menace. And finally, Gosling's wife and Ghost Rider star Ava Mendes is playing a fully glammed-out cantina owner named Belle. She's 650 years old with gold skin-tight pants and a corset with a golden cape. Unfortunately, we remain mostly in the dark about Star Wars Starfighters villains. I don't know. You just had me at Ava Mendes in a skin-tight pants and a corset.
Gold skin-tight pants.
Yeah. And I don't care if she is 650. She's still going to look good.
Yeah. I like that.
So,
he's like, hey, can you get my wife in this? You know, she likes Star Wars. It's like, yeah.
Well, and when you're probably the hottest actor in Hollywood right now, it's either him or Chalamet. I think you have a little bit of weight.
Yeah, there's been some debate on, let's just go ahead and get something teased about this movie sooner than later. I mean, I think they're waiting for Mandalorian Grogu to end its theater run, you know, but it's time we start looking forward and start messing around with some type of either teaser trailer or more pictures, you know, more official pictures.
Do you think we get maybe the first teaser around holiday time, Kevin?
I don't know. There's Comic-Con 2 coming up. I don't know what type of presents they're going to have. Is D23 this year as well?
I think D23 is next year, but I could be mistaken because I believe that Star Wars Starfighter
D23 can't be next year because next year is Celebration.
Okay, so it might be this year then. But yeah. But I mean, I am a firm belief that the two things that are going to dominate next year's Star Wars Celebration will be the re-release of the original Star Wars film and Star Wars Starfighter.
Yeah, should be anyway. Yeah.
Now,
well, I mean, the movie's coming out around that time anyway, so
yeah. It will be interesting. Now, Kevin, what are your feelings on physical media?
I don't know, what is that?
No idea. No clue.
Yeah, I love it. I collect it. It's mine. It's my precious.
Sony has done something that has not sat well with video gamers at this point.
Yeah.
So Sony made an announcement last week. As consumer preferences and the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on the PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. The transition has no impact on games that are already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. Now, Kevin, I think this has been the writing on the wall for the video game industry for a good bit. Microsoft has basically said they're not making the Xbox anymore, and they're tying in with Steam, which is a digital distribution for video games for a new machine.
Does that mean console games are going by way of the Dodo?
Basically, I think, yeah, except for...
Or are they going to sell console games that don't have the little drawer where you put a disc in?
Exactly. Basically, that's what they're going to start selling consoles, but they just basically connect to the internet. You're not buying a full computer, but you're getting a console that connects to the internet that's strictly for video gaming. I think we are seeing the end of the console as we grew up with it, Kevin. I think it's going to be a very interesting time and a little bit of a sad day. And it's going to be interesting to see how the retro market for video games changes as this happens too.
Well, it's not just that. You're kind of bearing the bigger lead here, Kyle, is that a lot of the movies and stuff that PlayStation you purchase with is they're losing some licenses and stuff. and that you're not going to be able to keep those. And so the big news around that is that this is why you keep physical media, so you can keep your movie. But a lot of the digital purchases from movies and TV or whatever you could do on PlayStation, a lot of them are going to be going and getting rid of, and you won't own them anymore.
So as a digital guy around here, I have feelings on this particular subject, because to me, if you're buying digital movies through like the PlayStation Store and things like that, you're running a risk. I think unless you are buying your digital media through either iTunes or Amazon, where they just have the money hand over fist to keep the licenses, and they don't want to mess with the people who are those licensors don't want to mess with Amazon or iTunes. I think buying anything else from digital distribution for films is a risk. And I think this is why. I mean, at least when I buy a movie from iTunes and download it, they can't pull, even if the license is loose, I have the download, I can still watch it.
You know, what's interesting too, is like there's two other online digital video companies that are staying in business too. Remember like Flickster and all those type of stuff?
Yeah.
Like Movies Anywhere is still alive and strong, and that's because they work with iTunes. You could, if you buy something through them, you can watch it through iTunes because they partner up together. And then Fandango, which isn't that owned by the Walmart people or something like that?
Yeah, and I mean Fandango has with the movie ticket sales it has too. It's got a great relationship with theaters and things of that nature. So
yeah. So I feel like Movies Anywhere, it seems like it's the safest one for sure. They've been going strong. They've survived, and then because like whenever you buy a physical media, mostly the digital copy that you get goes through Movies Anywhere or Fandango, which used to be called something else. I can't remember.
But Kevin, you gotta love the internet, because some companies had some real fun with this.
At their expense, PlayStation's expense, yes.
Yeah. Starting with Domino's United Kingdom in the UK, their official statement: in response to trends in the gaming industry, as of the 1st of April 2027, Domino's UK will cease production of physical pizzas and shift to production of digital pizzas only. Consumers will be able to download our full range of delicious pizza codes and, using the power of the imagination, enjoy them in an entirely virtual sense.
Can I get those without pineapple? That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm having pineapple on mine, but that's a whole different issue. Kevin, I want you to read the Hasbro.
Yeah, Hasbro had one too, an official statement. In response to the recent trends in the industry, Hasbro is meeting the demand regarding physical product starting April 1st, 2028. All of our Transformer toys will be released digitally as collectible images or files, with a few select, quote, premium products that will be released as physical items in limited quantities under the HasLab brand through our store. It's clear that our audiences are tired of toys cluttering up their rooms, requiring shelving, display cases, and the mess of collecting an entire series. We feel this is a solution to all these issues. We thank you for understanding and welcome you to a new age of Hasbro. Chris, quote, we are not a toy company, Cox CEO.
So now, Kevin, I'm just going to throw this out there. The one toy that might be able to get away with this is Lego, because if you've ever stepped on a Lego, you might wish it was digital.
This is true. Yeah.
The world is changing, my friend, and sometimes you wonder if it's for the better. But I know you're not a big comic book reader these days, but there is a comic book that is owning the comic book industry right now, and that is Absolute Batman. And if you're not familiar with Absolute Batman, the Absolute line is kind of a answer to Marvel's Ultimate line from several years back. And I just want to say this too: the host of the Flattest State of Comics has joined the chat, and I appreciate the happy birthday.
What's up, Steve? Comic Ronin? Steve, good to see you. Yeah, he says, hey, happy birthday, Kyle.
And trust me, Steve knows what I'm talking about when it's all Absolute Batman. And they have announced that they are doing animation for absolute Batman. It's time for a different Batman, an absolute Batman. As reported by Deadline, DC Studios and Warner Brothers Animation announced a new animated series for the breakout comic book series, Absolute Batman, that's currently in the works. The studios will be partnering with the comics co-creator Scott Snyder on the upcoming project. They're going to do this in an anime style, but also in a 3D anime style, computer generated. This comic is huge, Kevin. And I mean, this is the comic that Steve talked about where one of the artists just sold a comic book, a sketch cover for $18,000 to somebody.
Wow.
And this comic is huge. I think it's on like its 10th or 12th printing. And a little shout out to you from the Ronin himself.
What's up, Mr. Steve? Thank you, sir.
This is going to be huge as far as the Batman thing goes, animated, live action, or otherwise. This is a huge thing for DC. But they
how much source material do we have for this? Like, how many comics total are out there?
I think it's in its 20 up into like over 20. He's there. This is why we have a comic book host now. He's reading issue 22, which came out today. So there's a couple of trade collections already out there as well. So you can go read
these. It says I'm on issue 22 right now. It came out today. Nice. Okay, so there's some stuff to work with there. I like that.
Yeah. This book is phenomenal. I've got the first trade. I need to pick up the second one. It's great. But they also
how many issues are in the first trade, Kyle?
I believe it's the first 6.
Okay.
The other projects that they also announced during the presentation for animated things was a new adult animated series with the Joker called Laugh Riot, and an untitled kid-oriented project starring Crypto that's also in development. So I'm excited for this. We're probably not seeing it until 2028, I would guess, since it was just announced. But the other big thing, too, with Batman is they are getting ready here shortly to release a classic Batman story in animated. They're doing the Batman Nightfall. And I believe it's a 3-part movie series, animated movie series. And if you remember Nightfall, that's where Bruce Wayne's back is broken by Bane, and another character takes over the role of Batman, and it doesn't go real well. So excited for that. But Kevin, this is one of these things that as soon as you hear it, you go, why hasn't this happened sooner? Because it's the absolute perfect fit. Genndy Tartakovsky is now doing a Conan show for the Cartoon Network. I think most of us are probably familiar with him either from his version of Star Wars, The Clone Wars, or the amazing show he's done for the Cartoon Network, Primal. This is a Conan series I could get really excited about real quick.
Cool. Tell me more.
So, as first reported by The Wrap, the award-winning director and animator revealed his next project, a new Conan the Barbarian animated series. The project is currently in the works from his studio and Cartoon Network studios, and the series is slated to stream later on Prime Video. He first pitched the idea for an animated version of Robert E. Howard's famous pulp character in 2008. 20 years later, it appears it's finally come to fruition. Details have also surfaced on the official logline for the series. After finding love in the pirate queen, Belit, a battle-hardened Conan defies God's fate and even death to save her from a dark sorcery that threatens to destroy everything. The inclusion of Belit implies that the story will be heavily inspired by Howard's original short story, Queen of the Black Coast. It looks like the narrative will be expand upon the period where Conan travels with Belit aboard her ship, the Tigris. If there's anybody's animation style that was right for Conan, Kevin, it's his.
We'll see. Yeah.
I mean, and how long has it been since we've had quality Conan material done, too?
Yeah, I still wanted a live action like King Conan with Schwarzenegger, but I don't think we're ever going to get that. So
yeah,
I wasn't a big fan of the Momoa movie.
Yeah, I like Momoa in it, but yeah, I wish they would have done a little bit more with it as well. But that is going to wrap up Let's News. It's time to get into our main segment where the Magic 8 Ball's about to come back, but first. So, Kevin, we put the Magic 8 Ball to work. It'd been mad it hadn't been on the show in a while. It decided it was summer. Basically, the Magic 8 Ball is demanding we give it our favorite summer films. And we had a few rules for this. Each movie had to be released between the months of May through August. We added a caveat for this for a couple of films, and we'll explain why later. And we have to have personally seen it in the theater ourselves. I'm going to play a little caveat with one of my picks with that a little later. But you know,
and we're targeting Gen X era movies from like 70s, 80s, 90s to current times. So,
yeah. And we are the founders, so we can have that kind of power. But Kat, you put out there on social media about this, and we got some interesting feedback. You want to help me out and go through some of the feedback that we got back on our social media?
Yeah, so I went to the old Twitter there, and our good buddy Murph from Raiders Fan Radio, big nerd himself, he listed his top 5 of Gen X summer movies that he was part of. Number 1 was Raiders of the Lost Ark. 2 was Goonies. 3 was Vacation. 4 was Ghostbusters. And 5 was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Good selection there. My good friend Rossi from Australia, also a fellow Raiders fan. I always hang out with him when I go down to Melbourne. Good dude. He gave us his top 8. He said Raiders of the Lost Ark at number 1, followed by, I love this pick, Tango and Cash, which I always call the last great action movie of the 80s because it came out in December of 89. He also said Predator, Ghostbusters, Spies Like Us. I love that pick. Die Hard, the Christmas movie. 7 was Fletch, and 8 was Roadhouse. And also my good friend Jared Albrecht, otherwise known as the Yard Sale Artist. And he is on the Long Box Crusade Network. Check them out. They got some good podcasts there. One of my favorites is the Action Film Face Off podcast, but he and I are also guests on our good friend Aaron Head Moss's G.I. Joe Real American Hero Headcast. We talk G.I. Joe. He says, giant summer movies from my memory, just super strong summer movie vibes. I'm a little younger than Kevin, so I've got some 90s here. He says Batman 89, TMNT 90, Total Recall, Jurassic Park, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, RoboCop, and Karate Kid. Now, TMNT actually came out in March, but I'm going to allow it because that was definitely a good one there. So, yeah. Next, we've got our good friend Lee Fillingness. He said, wait, Kyle, I got this here. Here, let me do this here. He said, One Crazy Summer, Stand By Me, and, of course, the Holy Trilogy, which is the Star Wars trilogy. And good friend Stevie McLeod there in Glasgow, Scotland. He says the Goonies. Yes, I'm sure Goonies will be brought up again. And my good friend Dan Lee says, tough choice, but I have to go with Return of the Jedis, the Goonies, Temple of Doom, Empire Strikes Back, and Ghostbusters. And he says, man, I miss those days. And then my friend Kenny Crowley Jr. says Superman 2, The Empire Strikes Back, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park, Rambo 3, Batman 89, Die Hard, and The Breakfast Club. And my friend Ryan Hannington said Dazed and Confused. Now, Dazed and Confused actually came out in September, but man, it takes place on the last day of school for summer. I'm going to allow it. So yeah, that's
a lot of allowances here.
Well, yeah, But, it feels like a summer movie, and it's one of those movies you definitely want to watch during the summertime. But I want to thank everyone for chiming in there. Very, very cool. So we're going to let Kyle, you're going to give your honorable mentions first, and then you're going to give your nominations, and then I will follow in suit after you.
Okay, well, then let's kick things off with a little bit of honorable mentions for me here. And number 1, this is a movie I can recite line for line. I grew up with this. This is always going to be something I watch and rewatch on a regular basis, and it's actually having its 40th anniversary this year. Transformers the movie that traumatized many a child with the death of Optimus Prime. This movie came out in August of 1986. I saw this opening day on the theater. I couldn't be there fast enough. I went with my good friend John Nolan, who was a huge Transformers fan, and we came out mentally scarred after this film.
Aren't they re-releasing this with like an apology tour?
Yeah, they're doing an apology tour for the death of Optimus Prime and some of the other classic Transformers that were in this. Of course, if you go back to the days of these toy lines, it was, we got to get the old toy line out and get the new toy line in. And that's kind of what happened here. But then Hasbro learned a really hard lesson when they killed Optimus Prime, and how quickly they made changes to another major Hasbro franchise movie after the resulting backlash of the death of Optimus Prime as Duke has slipped into a coma, Kevin.
Yeah, the G.I. Joe movie. Duke did not die.
Yeah, he took a snake to the heart, but he slipped into a coma. And my other honorable mention, and I'm going to explain why this is an honorable mention. Pirates of the Caribbean, the first film, The Curse of the Black Pearl. This is my favorite of the Pirates films. And Kevin, when this came out, this thing dominated the summertime. Yeah. That summer. This movie was huge. Everybody was in love with Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley. The reason why it is not on my main list, however, and only an honorable mention, is because this franchise has fallen so far with too many bad sequels, and Johnny Depp falling into basically every role I play, I'm playing a version of Captain Jack Sparrow. And I think it kind of pulls it down, and that's why it's not on my list, but it definitely still deserves an honorable mention. Like I said, it dominated the summer it came out. It was huge.
Yeah, it was a good summer movie for sure, man.
So, but let's get into my nominations for what we might feed for the Magic 8-Ball list. And first and foremost, one of the most influential movies of my youth, and I still consider one of the greatest comedy science fiction films of all time, Ghostbusters. I mean, Venkman, Stats, Egon, Winston, Bill Murray, Harold Ramos, Dan Aykroyd. I mean, the whole cast. This movie is, yeah. Sigourney Weaver. Are you the Keymaster?
Next time someone asks you if you are a god, you say yes.
I mean, so many quotable lines, so many moments. And I remember I wanted to see this so bad. My mom made my half-sister drag me with all her friends who loved me and was glad to have me along to go see this movie. And it was one of the few times at that age, because I was about 9 at the time. I was 9 at the time. And they let me stay out late with my half-sister to go see Ghostbusters.
That Ghostbusters logo was everywhere, man. And it was cool if you got the t-shirt and stuff like that. But I remember it was an early, they started promoting this movie early. It was a big deal. Fun time.
And I think the other thing important about this is a movie that has stayed in the pop culture lexicon, and it's never going to leave. Look at Stranger Things.
It's also created a fan costume club as well.
Yeah. So Ghostbusters isn't going anywhere. I think this is one of the greatest summer movies of all time, in my opinion, for a multitude of reasons, including its impact on just culture in general.
Shout out to our friend Chris Sheets, who sometimes jumps in here, Ghostbusters response unit. His car is actually Ghostbustered out. It's great.
Oh, that's awesome. So next up for me, Batman 89. Kevin, I don't care what anybody says. This is still the greatest movie marketing campaign of all time.
Yeah.
The excitement that was built for this film was absolutely amazing. I think I saw this movie at least 10 times over that summer. I mean, it was everything at the time we wanted from a Batman film. Michael Keaton shocked the world, being amazing as Batman, and of course the fantastic Jack Nicholson performance. But 89 was the summer of Batman, and nothing else even came close.
Yeah, 88, you started just seeing the Batman logo, not even the word Batman. You just saw the logo and it said summer, next summer or something like that. And it was everywhere. And I remember the midnight showing that I went to. I remember the date that I went with, and I remember the dress that she was wearing.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, there's a fact I need to share with you. Do you know what happens when you hit 88 miles per hour? You're going to see some serious shit. As much as Batman dominated 89, I think Back to the Future was the summer movie of 1985. And that's saying something, because there were some other movies out there that could have given it its run. But Doc and Marty dominated this summer. This movie stayed in theaters through, I think, almost the holidays, Kevin. It was so...
And how they had to reshoot the whole movie again because Eric Stoltz didn't work out. It's just amazing. But yeah, this movie stayed in the theater. Lots of rewatches. Such a fantastic movie.
Yeah. I mean, took Michael J. Fox from star status to superstar status. An amazing soundtrack from Huey Lewis with a couple of bangers off of that. And just
probably the #1 time travel movie of all time.
Yeah. And again, a movie that has just lived in the pop culture lexicon since it came out. And it's not going away. So Back to the Future is on my nomination list. Up next, very similar to Batman 89, an incredible marketing campaign based off of an incredibly popular book. And in my opinion, to this day, some of the greatest special effects that hold up practical ever. The original Jurassic Park. The dinosaurs still look fantastic when you watch that movie today. The amazing score. I mean, this movie was, again, Jurassic Park dominated when it came out in 1993. I saw this movie several times in the theaters. This movie just blew people's minds, Kevin.
This was another one of those logo teases that we got the year before. But also, too, you mentioned the book by Michael Crichton. This book was huge before the announcement of this movie. And the fact that Steven Spielberg jumped on it and it was going to happen, the buzz just started. And people were going out and buying the book or the audio book like I did and just getting really familiar with it. And just we could not wait for it. It was great.
Yeah. Up next for me is the movie that I will easily say it is my favorite movie-going experience of all time. Coming out May 4th, 2012, the original Avengers. I went to a midnight showing of this. The crowd was phenomenal. Everybody was into it. It just made for this magical experience for me, and that's one of the reasons why it makes this. But this is a movie nobody thought could ever be made. That nobody thought it could be pulled off. To have the build up to this with that first phase of the MCU, and then you had
the two Iron Man movies. You had the Hulk film. You had Captain America, and of course you had Thor. And we got all of the tease was coming. The tease was coming, and because Iron Man worked and it paid off, they're like, we're going to pull the trigger on this and create the MCU.
And everybody forgets this was the movie that made Disney purchase Marvel. This was the first Marvel movie that Disney was involved in, but they really didn't make it. But it was this movie that Disney was like, we have to own this. And Kevin, I mean, we're talking about making a group of actors for a decade, the main group of actors that most of us knew and identified with and loved. The 10-year run of the MCU will never, ever be repeated in Hollywood history. I can't see where it's ever going to be repeated. And I think this was the movie that truly cemented it. I mean, Iron Man was the success that laid the groundwork, but this is a movie that finished that foundation, and they said, okay, we can do this. And it changed history. And I mean, like I said, Kevin, it is probably my most favorite movie going experience of all time. So up next for me, Independence Day. Now, yes, this movie has some knocks on it over the years, but Kevin, in 1996, when this movie came out, everybody was so mystified by like, what is this movie about? What are we going to see? Will Smith, it's a movie that takes him to another level. Jeff Goldblum, getting back to the classic disaster type movie where we've got the classic shot here of the White House being blown up by the alien ships. This is still a must watch every 4th of July when it rolls around. And it's still, I think, one of the most beloved science fiction films of the modern era, Kevin. And I mean, for all the knocks you can have on this, people still love this movie.
I remember the midnight showing I went to on this one. I remember waiting in line for tickets and then waiting in line again to get into the theater because this was before assigned seating. And I remember the teaser trailer for it as well, and probably has, as Bill Pullman, one of the best president speeches of all time.
Yeah. I am so yeah. I think this was the movie that dominated the summer of '96, but it was a good summer in 1996 because, well, I don't think this is going to make the final list. This is for me a near perfect movie and one of my all-time favorite movies. And we just talked about this recently on Time Warp. That's Twister. This movie is so much fun. It's a great cast. This came out in early May 10th of 1996. This is the epitome of what a summer movie should be, Kevin. It's turn off your brain, enjoy the cast, have fun with it. And I think this is still one of the most rewatchable movies of all time.
Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. Great.
Yeah.
Great, I mean, great great chemistry.
Yeah, everything. My next film, Kevin's giving me some grief over this, but I'm going to explain it, and I think some people will understand this. Well, I think I got my slides mixed up, but The Hangover. Okay, well, let me explain The Hangover. This comedy blew up. This thing, everybody went to go see this thing. Once the word got out about it, people were just dying to go see it. It made Bradley Cooper a star, Zach Galifianakis a star, and Ed a star as well. I mean, and Kevin, I think the thing about this movie is it was the last of this type of comedy. We haven't had a comedy like The Hangover since the original Hangover. Yes, you might knock it for the other two that came out afterwards that just didn't have the magic, but this movie was comedy magic at the time. And I just remember people coming out of it, especially the end credits with all the photos. Yeah. And just everybody was talking about
Mike Tyson and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I think everybody was talking about this movie. I think it was, and like I said, I think it was the last of its kind for this kind of comedy. I don't think we've ever seen it truly come back into the movie theaters since this movie, Kevin. So, and finally, I'm breaking a little bit of the rule here. I have seen this movie in theaters, but it was special anniversary showings. But Kevin, a lot of people consider this film the film that truly started the summer blockbuster trend, and that is Jaws. I think we're going to need a bigger boat.
Well, you were a little young to see it then.
Yeah,
but you did see it on a re-release, right?
Correct. Yeah. But because I think of the importance of this movie, this was the really, truly the first huge summer movie blockbuster type film. Steven Spielberg, obviously, an all-time classic, so highly rewatchable. I think this movie has got to be considered just for the importance of it. And I mean, there's so many people who will say this is one of my all-time favorite summer films, and we'll watch it once a year in the summertime. And I mean, when you hear that,
yeah, I recently watched this with my wife, Erin. Was it last year? End of last year, or beginning of this year? And it still holds up. It's a perfect film. It's really good. Very well paced, you know. So yeah. So go ahead.
That is my list of nominations, Kevin. Any thoughts you want to throw in on that?
There's some bangers in there, and I did want to clear one thing up too. This isn't like your list against my list. There's stuff on your list that that are going to be would have been on my list as well. Yeah. But we wanted to pick around 8 to 10 and then have some honorable mentions. And then we're going to get together after my nominations and get together basically our top 8 to create the magic 8 ball. We'll probably throw in an honorable mention as well, but you have definitely 1 or 2 movies on that list that would be in my top 5 for sure. Yeah. And so, yeah, you got some good stuff there, man. And it brings back a lot of really good memories. And a lot of stuff that people that were voting on with the social media comments. I did want to mention before I go on to my list here, my lovely wife, big movie fan. Now, keep in mind, she's Australian, and a lot of these summer movies, as we saw them, didn't come out necessarily during the summertime in other countries. They came out a little bit later, a few months later, sometimes at the beginning of the following year. But what's funny about Australia is that their summer actually is our winter. So we may have our summer movie releases, yet they won't get them, until maybe November, December, but it's summer for them. So in a way, it is a summer movie when you look at it that way. But my wife said that Superman, the original Superman, was a big deal. She saw that in the theater, and she remembers that at the theater, she got this cool Superman T-shirt. Those are those like little glitter iron-on things they used to have back in the day. She still wishes that she saw that. She saw Grease in the theater more than once as well. That was a big deal for her. Close Encounters, one of her favorite movies of all time. That is one as well. She mentions Raiders of the Lost Ark, Karate Kid. Risky Business was a big deal for her and a lot of her friends. They went to go see it over and over again.
Rebecca De Mornay was a big deal.
Yeah. The other thing that was big too, because obviously it's a Mad Max movie and it's an Australian movie, and that's Mad Max 2. They knew it as Mad Max 2. We knew it as The Road Warrior, but over there it was Mad Max 2. That was a big deal. So those are her mentions for top summer Gen X movies.
And since we are talking about the lovely Erin, I just want to mention this too. When we talk about our lists, Erin accuses Kevin and I of sharing a brain most of the time. So this was a very painful experience for us to try to make sure we weren't going to duplicate each other a whole bunch. So we had a talking point on this. So when you hear my list and then you see Kevin's list, well, Kyle, why didn't you nominate this? There were things I left off my list intentionally because I knew Kevin would be for sure nominating those. So we ripped the brain in half for this episode, Aaron.
Yeah, like Batman 89 is on my list. I'll tell you that right now, because that is one of the most iconic summer movies of all time, you know. So yeah. And again, we wanted to clarify, we had a caveat too, because and going into my honorable mentions, this is where this comes, is that so we mentioned originally that the summer movie season basically is May through August. But there were certain movies that started pushing that envelope and starting the summer movie season a month earlier. And more specifically in April, there's a lot of big movies that started releasing in April. And so that brings me to, let me get this here. Yes, Kyle?
I'm not going to reveal it, but I'm going to say I think there's one franchise in particular that is very guilty for the starting all of this. And it's one of the two that fall under this. And it's I think you know which one I'm leaning towards for that.
Well, my first honorable mention here is Fast 5 of the Fast and Furious franchise. And this, of course, is lauded by a lot of fans as the best Fast and Furious film. This is when we get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson joining. This was the big heist movie down in Rio, one of the best action movies of all time. And this one came out April 29th. And I noticed that when the sequel started coming out for the Fast franchise, they started hitting that early April, mid-April time there. So yeah. So there we go.
So, and that is the franchise that I blame for changing the static of the summer movie season, because I think the Fast and the Furious had a tendency to put itself out mid to late April for the most part, and I think
because they didn't want to mess with the Marvel films, you know,
right? And then Marvel said, "Oh no, we can't allow this," and we'll get.
And to give you a time frame, Fast 5 came out in 2011 on April 29th. So yeah, that's like right when like Avengers and all that stuff was coming out. So yeah,
and just to follow up on this, the best of the Fast and Furious films, and I think the film that drew a lot of people in who necessarily weren't fans of that franchise, and got that franchise even bigger because they went back and revisited the films and realized how fun they are for what they are. And, you know, The Rock and Vin Diesel, just the testosterone level in Fast 5 was off the charts.
My next honorable mention is Point Break, 1981, came out July 12th. What a great action film, directed by Catherine Bigelow. Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, about a bunch of surfers, of course, that put on dress as former presidents with a mask, and they rob banks and they use the money to basically fund their surf trips, basically. And it's one of those movies that Aaron and I bonded on too, because at the end of the film, when he's chasing down Bodhi in Australia, and the beach was actually filmed in Oregon, Bells Beach, and Aaron took me to the real Bells Beach in Australia. It's a lot different. But anyway, that's one of my honorable mentions. The next honorable mention here is Dodgeball. Love this movie, Dodgeball. I remember when I saw it. I was in Columbus, Ohio. This was 2004, came out June 18th. And I saw a bunch of us after the convention, which is called Origins Game Fair. We went and saw it on opening night and went back the next night. And I think I saw it like 3 times that weekend. And Dodgeball is my favorite comedy of all time. I never get tired of this movie. Even Aaron likes this movie. It's great. One of the classic, and this movie only, like, I think the budget was like around $20 million, and it made like over like $150 million in the theater.
So just as a comment real quick on both of these ones. Point Break, first of all, one of the greatest character names of all time in Johnny Utah.
Yep.
And Patrick Swayze has a bad guy, which that was an interesting,
but a cool bad guy, a bad guy you like, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You can understand why you're tempted by the dark side by Patrick Swayze in this movie. Dodgeball, Kevin, I have a question for you, for both of us, really. At our now advancing ages, can we still dodge a wrench?
No. No, not if it's thrown by Rip Torn, no. So yeah. God, this movie's so damn fun.
This movie came out of nowhere too. Nobody thought Dodgeball would become what it's become.
And then real Dodgeball leagues started happening because of this. And also, more importantly, Kyle,
the Ocho.
ESPN, the Ocho now becomes a thing once a year.
Yeah. And as always, thank you, Chuck Norris.
Yes, thank you, Chuck Norris. All right, let's get to my nomination. Now, keep in mind these could be some of Kyle's favorites as well, but I'm going to go with the obvious for me, and I'm going to tip my hat there. This is number one for me. Raiders of the Lost Ark. This came out June 11th, 1981. It's celebrating its 45th anniversary. We all knew Harrison Ford as Han Solo, but now we finally get to see both George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, the co-creators of Jaws and Star Wars, came together to create the ultimate action hero, and made me want to. This is the guy I wanted to be, was Indiana Jones. I remember watching this opening weekend. I remember going back and seeing it again and reenacting the opening idol chase scene outside my front yard. It was so much fun, man.
Yeah, I mean, one of the greatest action adventure films of all time. One of the greatest characters ever created for film. Could have been Tom Selleck. Maybe it changes the trajectory of Indiana Jones a little bit, but what I think is interesting too, when you think about this, the third film has almost as much reverence as Raiders of the Lost Ark in its own manner too, which was another summer movie release. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, one of the most iconic film opening sequences of all time. There's just no question.
And one of the best soundtracks of all time.
Oh yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, the next one is probably right up there at the top of the list. One of the biggest. It says Jaws, Hold My Beer, and that is Star Wars. The original Star Wars, not Star Wars Episode 4, Star Wars. And I remember seeing this opening week. I remember going back to it. I remember my family going back to it when it got demoted to the drive-in, and then I remember it being re-released later. And I remember the toys coming out, and this is one of my biggest fandoms of all time. Kyle, I'm sure for you, it was a big deal. I assume you saw it opening weekend too, right? Or were you too young?
I was 2. So
no. But I'm sure you saw it on a re-release later on.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was living in Alaska, so the films came a little later to the theaters there. The more interesting story of this, and the story, is my dad actually saw a black and white, non-finished version of Star Wars about 6 months before it came out. And
I remember this story.
And they had a friend who lived in Anchorage, and let's just say he had connections, and we'll just leave it at that. And he called my dad, so you got to come over and see this movie. My mom is pregnant with me at the time, or no, not pregnant with me, but just watching me. But my dad disappears for like 3 hours, and my mom's like, "Where the hell were you?" He's like, "You're not gonna believe what I just saw." And he saw. I mean, there's scenes in that he saw that never made the final cut of the film.
Yeah. So one of the traditions that I luckily have not broken, I know you unfortunately did because of COVID, you missed an MCU film on opening weekend.
Man, I don't know if it counts since it was Ant-Man Quantumania.
I thought it was Black Widow.
No, it was Ant-Man Quantumania.
Okay, gotcha. Well, you mentioned the first Avengers film. Well, with all of the Avengers films and movies coming together, it was coming down basically to with Thanos and his stones, basically the Infinity Stones. And this was one of those films that also broke we're going to start a little earlier in April, and it all came down, the culmination of this whole Infinity Saga came down to this film, and they did not disappoint. And I remember where I was actually in Canada, and I was not going to miss this. And I was with Andy Sloan, who is our Blood of Kings Highlander location master. And we were visiting Vancouver, Canada, of all of the filming locations of the Highlander TV series. And I said, dude, we got to go see opening night of Avengers Endgame. And he was all for it. The theater was packed. Luckily, I bought tickets before I went on that trip to that theater. I'm glad that I did. And of course, the famous scene where, we see Captain America grabbing Thor's hammer and then finally saying it, Avengers
Assemble.
And everyone just went boom. Kyle, do you remember where you were when you saw this movie?
Yeah, I was our opening night, first showing. There was no way in the world I was missing this. I got a little hot take about this, Kevin. This is the greatest end of a storyline in fandom history for movies.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars can't touch. There's nothing in Star Wars that can touch it. Return of the King can't touch it. This is the greatest culmination of
The
a
only
finale.
thing I could think that it won't touch it, but boy, did it end well. Was Picard season 3. You know,
Yeah, as far as I think giving the fan service, but I mean, as far
Yeah.
as in the movie theaters, I mean, Picard season 3 is TV, but yeah, as far as just a 10-year project that nobody thought would ever amount to what it amounted to, and just the perfect culmination of 10 years. You can talk about what's happened since Endgame, and that's fine, but from Iron Man to Avengers Endgame is just. That's what, as the doctor from Doctor Who would call it, it's time locked. And Endgame, there is nothing that, in my mind, as far as fandom films, that comes close to being the end of a story like Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, and they did a great job of like making like Thor: Dark World more watchable because of what happened in Endgame, and it's just and it starts off with Infinity War, and it kicks you right in the groin, and then you get to see that everyone gets saved because of a rat.
and truthfully, two of the greatest moments in film history: Avengers Assemble and Cap on your left.
Yep, good stuff there. All right, going back to the 80s, one of the most iconic summer movies of all time and probably one of the best soundtracks of all time is Top Gun. Came out in 1986 on May 16th. This movie just stayed in the theater, and it was just the perfect movie for everyone, kids, couples, everything. It had action, it had romance, and made Tom Cruise the iconic star that he is, dude.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about summer movies and our lists, one of the biggest things I think that's important with it is the staying power it had in theaters. Now, you have to adjust that for the era, of course, but when you talk like Back to the Future and Top Gun, these are movies that not only stayed through the summer, they stayed almost into the holiday season.
And this is the only way you could watch these movies because they didn't come on TV until years later. They didn't come on VHS until a year or two later. So you had to wait. And people were going back and rewatching these movies. And it helped their box office. It helped their staying power. You know, it kept theaters going. I mean, it was just a great way to relive these movies, is go back in the theater and watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
The next film, and I remember where I was when I watched this. I remember we were kind of like, not necessarily like a chaperone date, but it kind of was. And a bunch of us went to go see E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Came out in 1981, also celebrating its 45th anniversary, June 11th. This movie blew up and broke box office records. I think it broke Star Wars' box office record at the time. And we all fell in love with this cute little E.T. with Elliot. And it was just a great family film done by Steven Spielberg. Wonderful cast. Made me want to go back and ride my BMX bike all over the place. It was awesome.
I'm going to throw this out there. Is Steven Spielberg the king of summer movies?
When you look at our list, he's definitely there. You know, I mean, yeah, you know, you could say that for sure.
For the 80s, there's no doubt. For the 80s,
definitely.
there's absolutely no doubt. But then you throw in Jurassic Park, which was a 90s film, and a few other movies he's had come out. I think there's a very strong argument that if it says Steven Spielberg and it comes out in the summer, everybody else better just back off.
In 1984, we had someone learning some karate, and that is The Karate Kid. Came out June 22nd, 1984. This is one of those repeat viewings. You know, we were all pulling for Daniel LaRusso, and just a wonderful. I remember going back several times seeing it opening week as well. It was just one of those iconic films. And of course, then we got Cobra Kai Kyle that just kind of come in and cements it and did a wonderful job bringing everyone back. And basically treating the property the way that it should be, and tying in, 40 years later, all these wonderful people that were part of this film.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think this is a key thing for this. The Karate Kid is a great summer film, and for a lot of people of that era, it would be on the list. But I don't think if Cobra Kai does not come out and becomes the phenomenon it is, I don't know if Karate Kid gets pulled into this consideration because Cobra Kai brought the Karate Kid to a whole new generation that went back, and now it has meaning to that generation in the here and now, where it didn't have maybe that before Cobra Kai. And I think that makes Karate Kid a very interesting film for this particular.
I see your point, but I think it still stands on its leg, its crane kick leg, because it was an iconic film before Cobra Kai ever came out. But Cobra Kai definitely did a good job of showcasing it and going back to it, and us missing Mr. Miyagi himself, But I still think that that it still would be a good mention with summer films because it was so big. Definitely.
Yeah, Kevin, I just want to remind you, you're the best around. Nobody's ever going to keep you down.
Oh, thank you, man. Now, the other film here, it's a sequel, but what it did is that we lost one of its stars who went on to win an Oscar before the movie came out. And so obviously there was a lot of curiosity about it, but it's the second of a trilogy, and that is the Batman Nolan trilogy. And I'm talking about The Dark Knight, of course, with Christian Bale and, of course, the late, great Heath Ledger, who probably played, who thought that someone could maybe either challenge Jack Nicholson as the Joker or eclipse him as the Joker.
Let's be honest,
Heath Ledger said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
And this movie, I remember going to see it. I think it was one of the midnight films, July 16th. What was it? 2008, July 18th, excuse me. And it did not disappoint. And what was really cool about it too, is that certain portions of it were filmed in IMAX, especially that opening scene, robbing the bank. And then when he goes to China to bring that guy back. But Heath Ledger just stole this movie in his iconic role. He won an Oscar for it. And of course, it was a little morbid because going into it, we know that we lost him. But this movie just blew up, and it cemented Christopher Nolan as a filmmaker as well. And we just could not wait to see how this movie was going to play out.
The best Batman film of all time. It's that simple.
Yep.
The hard part, there's a few hard parts about this film. Obviously, the Heath Ledger part of it. This is a dark film. This is not a traditional superheroes type film. There's some very dark themes in this film. And unfortunately, there's some real life stuff that happened on the premiere night of this in some places.
I think you're talking about the third film, Kyle.
Was that the third one? I thought it was the...
You're talking about the theater shooting?
Yeah, the theater shooting.
Yeah, that was the third film that happened. Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I remember that well. This film was just it was a blockbuster, and Heath Ledger just killed it. Literally.
And I will say this: the chase of Batman through Gotham City in this film is still one of the best filmed driving action sequences ever.
Yeah, definitely. So. Next film, boy, this sequel is huge, dude. And we got Arnold Schwarzenegger back as the T-800. Terminator 2, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And boy, did we have some really good action scenes in this. But I remember this was released July 3rd, 1991. And knowing that now that the Terminator is the protector of John Connor, not the killer. And then we had the T-1000, Robert Patrick, being this new liquid metal. It was really cool effects. Really, really good action film.
I remember seeing this in the theater with my dad. We had gone to Anchorage. My mom had to fly out somewhere. So him and I had decided to stay in Anchorage for the weekend. And we went and saw this. And this is a movie that it's the perfect timing for everything. You've got Schwarzenegger at his peak. You've got James Cameron just huge. You've got the Terminator franchise. You've got a Guns N' Roses soundtrack for this.
You could be mine. Yeah.
This just everything came. This is that summer movie that everything came together perfectly and timely for the era it was in. And I think that's why this movie is still considered timeless in that aspect, because it's in its own bubble. It's trapped in it. It's time locked. It's timed in a bubble that everybody remembers this film.
In the same vein of Avengers Endgame, where we had a rat that was able to turn on Scott's time thing or quantum machine thing.
Quantum machine.
We learned in this movie that if you're a kid and you lie to a cop, you will save the entire human race.
Yeah, basically.
Now, Kyle, the next one, my nomination, the next one is one I actually had to sneak into because it was 1987, July 17th. I was 16 going on 17, and I had to be 18 to get to an R-rated film, but I snuck into it, and that was RoboCop. And this is the movie that desensitized me to film violence and, screen violence. This movie was the most violent movie I'd ever seen at the time, and it's a Paul Verhoeven classic. It launched Paul as well, and became not only one of the most iconic heroes of all time, RoboCop, but also, Kyle, gave me my favorite villain of all time, and that is Clarence Boddicker.
Yeah, I mean, those of you who think Red from that 70s show, oh no. If you are from the 80s, it's Clarence Boddicker. He's not Red, he is Clarence Boddicker.
Yeah, what a great bunch of bad guys he led to. So my
Can you
final
fly, Jimmy?
Yeah. Bitches leave. The next nomination, it's my final nomination, and it's a John Hughes film. And I remember going back and watching. I remember it was one of the films in 1986 where, other than Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark, maybe a couple others, I went back and watched again. And that was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Came out June 11th, 1986. This movie was a huge hit for us, and we always wanted to be Ferris Bueller and have a day off like he did. It was one of the funniest movies of all time, and I still love going back and watching this film, Kyle.
I love this film, but Kevin, in my mind, thinking back on this, I really think Ferris Bueller didn't hit that cult status until it hit like VHS and HBO. And people would just be watching it all the time, and it became one of those movies that you just had to watch it. I mean, it was incredibly popular at the time, but I think it didn't hit that cult status until then.
I went back and watched it more than once, and back then I remember there wasn't a lot of movies I was going back and watching, but this was one that I had to, and I remember it well. I remember the theater I was in when I saw this too. So yeah,
Kevin, let's be honest. You had multiple viewings because of Sloane Peterson.
Sloane, Mia Sarah, bless her heart. Gosh, yeah. All right, so those are our nominations, Kyle. So we have the hard task of narrowing all of these down into our top 8 for the Magic 8 Ball Gen X summer movies, greatest summer movies of all time. And we have a great list of nominations there. So, Kyle, I guess we should start. Let's kind of start with some of the obvious ones here. I mean, we could put them in order if we want, but I've got a list here. I'm going to fill it out. I don't
even think we need to put them in order, because I think the movies we're going to be putting on there are all classics.
Yeah. I think it's just we won't put them in best to worst of the 8. We're just going to pick our favorite top 8. But if you had to nominate a walk-in right away, which one would it be?
There's so many here. I honestly, though, this might surprise you, I think it has to be Batman 89. I think Batman 89 is the perfect movie marketing. It dominated a summer like I've never seen a movie dominate a summer. Not just with being in the theater for as long it was. I mean, Batman was everywhere that year. I mean, it was huge. The build, I've never seen a build up for a movie like this, where people were just lining up. I mean, you go back to Star Wars after word of mouth started coming out about Star Wars. Batman didn't even need word of mouth. People were just there. And I think as a summer movie, when you take in all the data you take in for a summer movie, I think Batman 89 might be the apex of a summer definition of a summer movie sensation.
I've already wrote it down in pen. I think there's 2. I think there's Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark, because they got votes too on social media as well, and they're both iconic for their own reasons that we've gone through. They were so iconic, and you could say Star Wars was like the big one that next to Jaws kind of started like you got to beat us. This is how it goes. So what say you?
I agree with both of those. I think even if you wanted to, you could just make the franchises like Lee pointed out, the holy trilogy. I mean, that you could just literally say Star Wars franchise, Indiana Jones.
I like to say Raiders of the Lost Ark because I like that it was Raiders of the Lost Ark, not Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. All right, so we've got Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Batman '89.
Okay, well, I have two that I think are musts. I think Jurassic Park. Again, it dominated. It just the build up very similar to Batman. It's one of the most rewatchable movies of ever. I think it's still iconic. The effects are amazing. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It's Spielberg. I still, when I see the scene when they see the dinosaurs for the first time at Jurassic Park, there's still a sense of magic to that scene.
Yeah.
And the T-Rex, it almost feels like a friend at this point because of everything that it's spawned off of. But I think Jurassic Park has to be one of those films. I think the other film has to be Back to the Future. I think Back to the Future defines a decade of the 80s. I think it is magical score, the Huey Lewis. I mean, still so absolutely pop culture lexicon. Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd are still identified for these roles. It was a magical summer in '85 when Back to the Future came out.
I can't argue with those. I agree. I'm going to add them to the list. I think one that we have to get on here, Kyle, because of the weight and the lines going to see it, is I think that we have to put in Independence Day.
I think Independence Day is kind of one of those things that defines a movie that may not be the most popular film, but it defined what the summer blockbuster was, especially in the 90s. Because you have to remember, for most of the 90s, the biggest summer blockbuster movie tended to come out July 4th weekend.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely right.
And I think Independence Day really started that trend.
So we've got 6 spots filled up already. We've got Batman '89, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Independence Day. So we've got 2 spots to fill, Kyle, for our final 2 spots and an honorable mention. So before we actually go ahead and say who we think goes on there, let's go ahead and kind of give our list of nominations. You have Ghostbusters left there. We've got Avengers. We've got Twister, Jaws, Hangover. And then we get into my nominations here. We've got Avengers Endgame, got Top Gun, E.T., Karate Kid, Dark Knight, Terminator 2, RoboCop, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. If you had to vote for one of those to get in there, make your case.
I think it has to be Jaws. We don't have this without Jaws. Jaws is a near perfect film. It is timeless. I mean, Steven Spielberg himself has already told the Rewatchable podcast, which is a very popular podcast, if they do Jaws again, he will come back to discuss Jaws. I think it's
only 2 spots. Okay, hold on. Before I'm kind of hovering around, not sure yet on that. That's a great one, but we still have like E.T. We still got Karate Kid and Top Gun. And what else? We got Avengers Endgame. I mean, we've got some big ones here, Kyle.
Can I? There is another movie that I feel very strongly about, and it's one on your list.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Top Gun.
I would put in Top Gun before Jaws personally. Let me go ahead and pull the slide up here. I would agree with that. Because I would say we slide in Top Gun, just because even though Jaws has that iconic dun-dun, not only did we get the iconic soundtrack for Top Gun, but we also got the Top Gun score as well with Harold Faltermeyer and that classic sound and everything. So that's why I feel like Top Gun edges Jaws a little bit, but we can make an argument for squeezing Jaws into the 8th spot, because I think you're right. It was the biggest. It started the blockbuster. It's a perfect film. I mean, it's iconic in so many ways. But would you challenge that 8th spot with anything else, Kyle?
Okay. Well, let me just get a couple words in on Top Gun and why I think, because I think Top Gun fits the category of taking its main lead and turning him into an ultra mega star. Tom Cruise was already a star. Top Gun. And again, what I talked about earlier, the number of viewings over the summer and its length in the theater. And I think that is something that is very important when you look at that era of films. Top Gun was in most theaters for almost 6 months, Kevin.
Yeah.
Much like Back to the Future. That's why I think Back to the Future is so important. I look as far as the other films on our list that are still hanging out there. I love Ghostbusters.
I need to mention this, Kyle. The list of stuff that we have right now is all 80s and 90s. There's no 2000s that are on this list yet. Just gonna throw that out, sure.
But I think that's also I think there's a reason for that, Kevin. I think because of how movie habits and how long movies stayed in the theaters has changed.
Yeah.
In the modern era. And I think that's an important part of it. But let's talk about the movies that are still out there before we make our final pick on the 8th. On my list, Ghostbusters is still on there.
Yeah.
I am a huge Ghostbusters fan. It was a big movie, but there is something about Ghostbusters that doesn't quite hit the level of some of these other films that we've talked about. And maybe it's
like E.T.
Even E.T. I love this film, but maybe because the sequel was a little lackluster and it's been kind of, as far as in movies, nothing has topped that original one.
Right.
And I think sometimes when we look at these franchises, if the other films kind of bring it down, much like Pirates of the Caribbean, you've got to take that into consideration a little bit, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, also still on my list is Avengers. Now, I have thoughts about the MCU in general and as far as summer movie thing, because I think the MCU is it's so hard to pick a movie out of the MCU because there's been so many successful people. There are people who love Winter Soldier. There's people who love Civil War, Endgame, Avengers, Black Panther. I think the MCU is like this just year-round beast.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah. And when I think of the MCU, I don't picture it as part of the summer movie season per se. I just see it as this ongoing thing.
That's because we got a lot of the MCU coming out in the fall and, stuff like that. So yeah.
It doesn't, as great as those movies are, there's a magic to each one of those coming out. Those movies though don't necessarily feel like they have that special summer movie magic that we're looking for.
Right.
Here, Kevin, at least in my opinion. And again, that's not berating these films because you know how I feel about the MCU. But there's just I don't feel like there's been a MCU film that's dominated a summer. That's like my summer was made by this film. Endgame came out in April, so really we had a lot of stuff. By the time Endgame finished its cycle,
plus you got more than one MCU film a year several times too. So yeah, I mean,
I'll you know what? Honestly, if you were going to talk about a MCU summer movie that felt like this at a different era would have been a huge summer movie, would have been the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
So I think that's kind of my feeling on the MCU movies. I love Twister. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. Yeah, I think it's a perfect film, but I understand what it is. I don't think it's a great time, but I don't think it really should be going on the all-time list of like greatest summer movies as far as the top 8 goes. And for our 8-ball purposes, The Hangover is the same thing. I had a little fun with that. There was a reason why I nominated it because I wanted to make a point about that kind of style of comedy movies as well. And I do think it was a huge sensation when it hit, but I don't think it's had the lasting power that some of these other films have had.
So some of the films that were on my list, I got, of course, Ferris Bueller. I've got RoboCop, Terminator 2 still on the board, Dark Knight, 2008, Karate Kid, E.T., to name a few that are still out there, Endgame as well. So what are we going to do with that 8th spot? Do we want to try to represent something from the 2000s, or do we want to stick with some obvious ones from the 80s or 90s? Terminator 2, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? What do you
honestly
feel? Jaws is still there.
I think the 8th spot comes down to 2 films for me that are still available.
Okay.
It's either Jaws, because I can't get the importance of Jaws. We don't necessarily have these summer movie kind of sensations without Jaws. And because Jaws is so near a perfect movie. And I look at these other modern films, I think you could consider the Dark Knight in aspects and Terminator 2. But for me, if you're not going to include Jaws, the only other movie that to me has that summer movie magic is E.T.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going towards E.T. as well. I mean, it's tough to ignore Terminator 2 and Twister and it's funny, after you made the point about the MCU films, like it's like, especially when some of them started coming out before May, it's hard to think of them as a summer movie, because sometimes we got the earlier MCU film and then we got the one later on, So yeah. God, I guess it comes down to like E.T., Jaws. Your comment about Back to the Future, though, I'm sorry, Ghostbusters. I see that. The sequel doesn't really help it, but man, it's still a good one though. But E.T. stands alone, and we never got a sequel for it. It's beloved. I feel like honestly, as well as Jaws did, I didn't go back and rewatch it for a long time because, I'm just wasn't really a fan of that type of movie and genre, but I've come to appreciate it. But E.T. I would go back to all the time.
Yeah.
So, do you want to give E.T. the 8th spot?
I would give E.T. the 8th spot, and I think Jaws, for its importance level, should get the honorable mention. That's my thoughts on it.
I cannot argue with that, Kyle. Let's give E.T. the final 8th spot, and we'll give the honorable mention to Jaws. So here's what we have. Honorable mention, Jaws, and then our list is for the Magic 8 Ball, top 8 Gen X summer movies. We got Batman 89, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Independence Day, Top Gun, and E.T.
I think that's fair. I mean,
it's a solid list, man. I'm digging it.
I think the other aspect of this too, and you talked about it, Kevin, as we get ready to close up this segment, is how summer movies are intaked now compared to the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, it's kind of not a thing anymore.
The turnaround is so quick when they're not in the theaters like they used to be. A good theater run now feels like 2 to 3 months compared to something like Top Gun or Back to the Future. Where in
Deadpool Wolverine, which made so much money, that felt like it was out for a little bit longer. Spider-Man's coming out right. Soon. We'll see how long that is, but yeah.
So, well, guys, that is going. Does the 8 Ball seem happy first, Kevin? That's
it is.
Okay,
it agrees. It likes it.
Well, we know we are running long here. The segment, it was a great conversation segment, but we have seen a few things. We're going to make it quick, but
yes,
ladies and gentlemen,
it's time to buy it, stream it, or unsee it.
That is right, guys. Buy it, stream it, or unsee it. Our TV and movie review segment. We haven't been around for a little bit. We've been doing the facelift, and just things come up. But we are going to do a little buy it, stream it, or unsee it before we get out of here tonight. Buy it, stream it, or unsee it. Of course, we always have to mention our good friends over at Letterboxd. And Kevin, we haven't updated the Letterboxd count from you in a good while. What are we at for 2026?
Yeah, so we're in July, which is halfway through the year now. I'm at 241 films right now. Doing pretty good.
What is your record? What is your record standing at right now for one?
It would be, so I started in 2023 with 406 films. 2024 I did 432, and then last year 2025 I did 426. So 2024 was 432.
So you're not on a bad pace at what you said, 271?
241 right now.
241.
But, yeah, it's like doing the time warp podcast really keeps that quota up too. So
yeah. Exactly.
But we'll try and get through these pretty quick, because I know we're going kind of long here. So
yeah. Well, we're going to talk about some things I've seen. And I know you saw this too. We've talked a lot about Steven Spielberg. Disclosure Day. I saw this. I'm a huge Spielberg fan. I'm not going to lie, but sometimes Steven is, for the most part, really good. This is one of those movies that I came out of it. I'm not going to say I hated it, but people ask me, well, what do you think of it? I said, this is going to be one of those movies that I think each person's going to have to see it and judge it on an individual basis, because I think it gives you a lot to think about, but it feels more in the AI feel of Spielberg movies than it does like Jurassic Park or something like that.
Well, this is his third and maybe final Alien, not necessarily trilogy, but Alien type themed film trilogy thing that he's doing. Of course, you go back to Close Encounters and E.T., and then you've got Disclosure Day, where everyone finds out that aliens actually do exist, and there's a secret part of the government that's keeping tabs on that. So yeah.
So for me, I think the biggest issue I had with this film, Kevin, was it didn't feel like it really set itself in any one direction. It was trying to hit too many different lessons, I would say, in it.
Steven Spielberg missed a golden opportunity to tie this movie into one of his greatest alien films, which is, of course, his Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and bringing back Roy Neary, who left with the aliens at the end of that film. He should have done that in this film. I thought that's what was going to happen when I was watching it. He should have, and it didn't happen, and I was disappointed. But other than that, yeah, I was a little underwhelmed by it, to be honest with you.
I think the reason why that didn't happen is I know Richard Dreyfuss has had a lot of health issues over the last couple of years, so that might have been a reason why that didn't happen. But
should have done it.
Either way, I would call Disclosure Day a stream it.
I would agree with you. I would say it's a stream it as well.
So, up next, Masters of the Universe. A lot of people have been talking about this. I had a ton of fun with this movie. This movie knew exactly what it was, and it executed it brilliantly. People have asked me, I said, if you are a fan of 80s films, this movie feels like a modern day version of Flash Gordon to me. It knows what it is. It doesn't hide from it. It was incredibly fun. I think the problem with it is, Kevin, though, is it's too locked into a franchise that is so defined by a certain generation that didn't really expand upon it. And this movie did not do well in the box office. However, because Amazon made this film, I think we are actually going to get sequels to this film, which I am happy about because I had so much fun with this movie.
And it started the stupid trend of people saying that it was going to fail at the box office before the box office first week ended, which was frustrating. But I agree with you. This was a lot of fun. And Skeletor was great in this film. You could not tell it was Jared Leto, and he kind of stole the film, to be honest with you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was never a big fan of the He-Man TV series or toys, but I did enjoy the 87 film with Dolph Lundgren. And this was a lot of fun. For me, it was a buy it. What about you?
Yeah, it's a buy it, especially if you are from that generation. I think this is a must own. It gave a great tribute to the 87 Masters film as well. And I just think across the board, it was a lot of fun. So this is a buy it for me. Up next, going to the Netflix side. And the main reason for this is for Alan Ritchson, because I'm a huge fan of Reacher. And I was very curious about this movie, and that is War Machine. I had fun with this movie. It was enjoyable, but it's definitely a stream it film. It's not a big budget film. It kind of has a little bit of a B movie feel, but right now, Alan Ritchson, in my opinion, Kevin, can do no wrong. He is just that charismatic on screen.
Yeah, he was the best part of this film. I would also say it's a stream it, even though it is a Netflix film. Would I buy it if it ever came on physical media? Nah, but it was definitely worth a stream it. I agree. Now,
I'm going to hit a couple TV shows real quick that in some ways are very similar themed. The first one is Silo, which is just starting its third season on Apple TV. This stars Rebecca Ferguson, Common, Tim Robbins. It's another dystopian future, or something drastic has happened. People are living underground. We don't know the third season seems like it's going to start revealing secrets of that. But the thing about this show that I like so much is the cast. Rebecca Ferguson is great in this. Common is wonderful, and you can never go wrong with Tim Robbins. And it's a very interesting story about the world they're living in these silos underground. There's a lot of political games going on. There's a science fiction aspect to this as well. It might not be everybody's cup of tea. I'm enjoying it. I think people should at least check it out. And I would definitely call this show a stream it. It is on Apple TV, obviously, but as far as rating wise, this is a stream it show. I think if you're a science fiction fan, you at least got to give it a chance, Kevin.
Gotcha.
So, however, the next show is a show that I am still on Mr. Reitzel that he needs to watch, and that is Paradise on Hulu, the Hulu exclusive show starring Sterling K. Brown. This show takes more left turns than a NASCAR race, and you don't see them coming. And it's done in a good way. I mean, literally in the first episode, you think this show is about one thing, and by the end of it, it's about something else entirely. And it's got great action in it. It's a great mysteries to it. It's got a little bit of again, a dystopian or a future that there's a disaster that's happened in the situation that the people are thrown in, but the world is so interesting and the characters are so interesting and the directions it turns and the things that it keeps you on your toes because you don't see it coming. It is one of the most well-written shows on television right now. It just ended its second season. A third season is coming. Like I said, Sterling K. Brown is absolutely amazing in this. James Marsden is in this as well. He is phenomenal. It's maybe one of his best performances I've ever seen him give. Paradise is a buy it. If it was just coming out as a TV show and I could buy it, I would be buying the seasons of it. It is that good. You need to check this out. If you are looking for a show that's a little different, but still gives you that science fiction feel and action feel and political mystery feel and murder mystery feel, it gives you all of that. So it's a buy it for me, Kevin.
Good to hear. Nice. All right. I've got some buy it or stream it. First, I'm going to start off with Jack Ryan Ghost War. I didn't know that John Krasinski was going to return after he ended his TV series as Jack Ryan, which I really enjoyed, and I bought them all in physical media. I love John Krasinski as Jack Ryan, and the band's back together for a movie, and it's on Prime, and it follows Jack Ryan, who reunites with the CIA operatives to navigate a treacherous web of betrayal against an enemy who knows their every move. And what I love about it is you get Sienna Miller as someone who's helping him out, joining the cause. And if I can get a John Krasinski Amazon Jack Ryan movie every couple of years, bring it on, because I'd love it. Hopefully he'll do more. I don't know what's in his contract, but I love that Wendell Pierce returns and the rest of his helpers and stuff. It's a lot of fun. Did you get a chance to see this, Kyle?
I have not had a chance to see this yet. It is on my list of playing catch up to see.
It's a buy it for me. I bought the series on Blu-ray, and if they happen to drop this or finding another way to get it, I would definitely buy it. So check it out.
I'm a huge fan of the series itself. So yeah, I'm it's definitely it's just a matter of having the time to watch it.
Definitely stream it, but I would definitely buy it. So. Next is a movie I saw on the big screen. That is The Furious. A father fights fiercely against ruthless kidnappers to save his abducted daughter. His daughter was taken because they're part of this group. It's somewhere in Malaysia, they say. And this movie is being touted as like one of the best, fight action movies, kind of like in the tone of
The
Raid, because it's got some people from The Raid, including that. If you're looking at this picture, that guy that has the long hair, I think it's Yayan Ruhian. Yeah, he was also one of the Conja Club guys from Episode 7 Star Wars. Really good choreography when it comes to fight. Now, you were going to try and see this. Did you see this, Kyle?
I bought it on iTunes because when you tell me it's The Raid guys, I'm in. It came out yesterday, and I was kind of working on getting ready for the show last night, so I didn't have a chance to watch it yet.
I have one thing I really liked about this film, and one thing I was a little disappointed with it. The one thing I liked about it was that the daughter wasn't one of those kids that was annoying. She actually was learning martial arts by her dad, because her dad is a mute, basically. He knows sign language, but he doesn't speak. But he's a badass martial artist, and he teams up with this guy whose wife was killed investigating the traffickers, basically, and they team up together, right? And there was a lot of really fun action and a very clever choreography when it comes to the fighting. My only problem with the film is the end fight scene goes on forever.
I think that's part of the influence of the Raid on this.
It was, the Raid was done in a decent time, but this last one, it just started getting kind of silly, where someone had to, mess up and die or do something, and it just went on for way too long. But I do recommend it, but I would probably say it's a stream it personally. So check it out.
I just want to say, what I find interesting about this is you have the concept of the main character not being able to talk. Alan Richardson has a movie coming up here. I think it's called Motor City or something along those lines, where his character is not going to be talk, and he has no lines of dialogue in the film.
I did not know that. Cool. All right.
So
the next movie, I was debating on whether or not to stream it later or watch it later, but I decided to go on cheap Tuesday to watch it, and that is Toy Story 5. And let me just say this. I did not like Toy Story 4 at all. To me, I thought leave it at 3, 1, 2, and 3. 3 was probably the best of them. Everyone loves Toy Story 3. It was done really, really well. 4 was just, oh God, it was not good. So I was apprehensive going into this, but I will say I did enjoy this film better than I expected. The movie revolves mostly around Jessie this time, because there's a young girl that she obviously bonds to with, and it tackles the subject of kids now playing with digital pads and stuff and not playing with toys as much. And so the character that is the digital pad called Lily Pad, and it's about this young girl who just wants to make friends, and the parents are trying to get her to do that. And she connects with another girl who is in a similar situation. So there's a very good message with this about putting the pad down and going outside and making friends that way. And it was nice to see some of the classic toys come together. And there was a couple of really nice moments. I guess it is fun to see in the big screen, but for me, I would probably say it's a stream it. Wait for when it comes out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
All right. Next one, I decided to take advantage of a deal that I saw, Kyle. And if you're a Fandango person, they said, well, if you go out on July 4th to see this movie, put in a special code and you could see it for $5. And that's exactly what I did on July 4th. I went to go see Young Washington. It's about a young George Washington who faces war, betrayal, and impossible choices that will forge a leader. Director is John Irwin, and it stars William Franklin Miller as the young Washington and Mary Louise Parker as his mom. And Kyle, growing up, we learned about George Washington and his famous crossing the Delaware, and him, doing that on Christmas Day, and him chopping down the cherry tree, right? That's all we learned about.
We learned about a little bit older George Washington, not such a younger George Washington.
I didn't know anything about his younger George Washington and how he fought for the British against the French and all this kind of stuff while they were still like trying to, go across America and the untamed lands and dealing with the natives as well. I thought it was pretty fascinating. I don't know how true that part is. I haven't looked it up, but it was interesting. And the guy, William Franklin Miller, is iconic, is a young British actor that played the young George Washington. But I actually thought it was really cool. And you get to see him, how he becomes a warrior and he deals with war and death and stuff like that. So Kelsey Grammer's in it. He plays one of the people that he has to take orders from. There's a couple other famous people in it as well. So yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a good history lesson as well.
So what would you rank it?
I would say stream it. Wait for it to come streaming. It is definitely worth seeing.
Yeah.
Now, I have a soft spot for some Minions, dude. And I had to go see Minions and Monsters. I love the Despicable Me series. And I have a soft...
I have a... Banana? I have a craving. Banana?
I've got something for you, Kyle. Yes, I have the Minions fart gun handy. I love Minions, and I wanted to go see Minions versus Monsters. I went to go see it in 3D. It was pretty cute. It wasn't one of the best, but it was clever. It had its moments. But the best part of this film, dude, is it has a George Lucas cameo in the first like 5 or 10 minutes. He doesn't voice one of the Minions, at least that I know of. He voices himself. It's a very funny scene. It's worth it seeing that. There's some very funny moments. It takes place during the Roaring 20s with the filming business, and it stars Trey Parker, Allison Janney, George Lucas, of course, Christoph Waltz, Jeff Bridges, Jesse Eisenberg, and Zoe Deutsch.
Now, there's something about this movie. I haven't seen it yet, but one of the things I've seen from the trailers and I like, and I just want you to confirm this. This movie has some fun with old style Hollywood, doesn't it?
Yes, you get that because the Minions are always trying to find villains to serve, but when they start serving certain villains through history and stuff, it doesn't go quite well. But they seem to find a place in Hollywood. And Christoph Waltz plays a director and makes them, and then they become a phenomenon during the Roaring 20s and 30s. And it was cute. So,
but the lesson you take from this movie is it's never a good thing when you summon a Cthulhu monster.
This is true. Yes. Yeah. It had its funny, cute moments. But I would say it was definitely a stream it, but it's also a good movie to take the kids to and go see it and turn your brain off. So yeah. And that is my buy it, stream it, or unsee it, Kyle.
Oh, well, there we go. So we've been here for a while. So let's wrap this episode of Culture Clash up. We want to thank everybody for joining us. A couple quick notes as far as news pieces too that I didn't bring up. If you are a Reacher fan, Reacher Season 4 has been announced to start August 12th and will run through September. And the last episode of Reacher, the day that comes out, they will immediately also be putting out the first episode of the Neely character spinoff that is going to be happening. So we got a lot of Reacher in our future, Kevin. That makes me excited. Yeah, me too. I'm excited for that. Love the Neely character. And I did want to ask you one thing real quick, too, before we close out here. I know we're going to probably be talking about it more on later episodes of Culture Clash. I just want your initial thoughts. We both love G.I. Joe. The news has come out about this Danny McBride project for G.I. Joe. Are you excited about this? Danny McBride seems to know his G.I. Joe. He confirmed it's one of his bigger fandoms, even over Star Wars and a lot of the other tentpole franchises. So he wrote a movie, and they seem to be moving forward with it. He mentioned the city of Springfield, and this came out before the Springfield of The Simpsons. It's the secret city that Cobra runs. I just hope that he also has a hand in on how the G.I. Joe characters look. And I hope that if this is gonna happen, it's not confirmed that it's happening, but he's in talks to do it. I hope that it happens, and it makes me excited that someone who knows the franchise is going to be the head runner if that happens. So yeah. And the kicker of this, and I don't know if you saw this as part of the interview, Kevin, this is not the first G.I. Joe movie he's written, because he wrote a Dreadnoks film, and that's what he wanted to do. But then they were like, no, before we do that, give us a actual Joe movie to set up the universe. Yeah, so they kind of want to reboot the entire franchise and start it off, which I think is the right move. That was a smart move. Yeah. So this has been Culture Clash episode 293, new look and all. Of course, this is the Fandom Podcast Network. Culture Clash is our flagship show, but we got all kinds of great things on the network as always. Scan that QR code to go to our Linktree account, where you can find links to all the shows in the network, all of our social medias, and a lot of other fun stuff we're going to be adding to it as we go along. It's just it's a one-stop shop for everything Fandom Podcast Network. So that's great. And a reminder, TeePublic. You're going to be seeing a lot of things happening on TeePublic over the next few months as we continue our facelift of the Fandom Podcast Network. But one thing you can get now, our new main logo for the Fandom Podcast Network is available on shirts, mugs, pillows, tapestries, all that good stuff. And we are not going to be getting rid of the older logos. They're still there if you like those. So yeah. Yeah. So if you want to go a little OG classic, that'll still be there for you. But we got shiny and new, as Will Smith would call himself in Men in Black. Got to get that summer movie reference in there. So, yes. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been a blast. Before I forget, any of you out there listening to this or watching, thank you for all the happy birthday messages today. It meant a lot. I appreciate it. Happy birthday, Kyle. Happy birthday. Yeah. And just a reminder, we are celebrating our 10th anniversary of the Fandom Podcast Network. So yeah. Yeah. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. We have got a lot of content planned. We know we've been a little slow on the content as we've been working on the facelift and a few other things. we're going to start rolling out some more stuff here, some more CPTs, more fun stuff too. We'll have some more classics as well, but we got a lot of stuff planned here. We got some ideas bouncing around, so keep your eyes out. Again, scan that QR code, get our link tree. But the most important thing here at Culture Clash and the Fandom Podcast Network, no matter how much we give it a facelift, fresh coat of paint, 10 years, 1 year, birthdays, whatever, the most important two things around here are respect each other, and as always, enjoy your fandom. The Magic 8 Ball is happy. It's my birthday. Kevin's hair is getting longer every episode. It's all beautiful things around here. We have done these things, ladies and gentlemen, and we are out of here.